amazing pictures that we've come out with. So good morning, everybody. Hopefully you've got the beverage of choice, coffee, tea, or whatever it is. Good afternoon, good evening if you're in other time zones. Thank you very much for joining us today. We have 21 amazing pictures from 3 different themes of our sandpits that have been held over the last couple of days. So we have from theme 1, which was One Health Food Beyond Greenhouse Gas Emissions. We have 7 amazing pictures combining STFC technology, facilities and capabilities to face food challenges. Likewise, from theme 2, food systems technologies in the ocean, there are 5 amazing ocean focused challenges, which just blows my mind in terms of the variety there, and I'm super excited to be seeing those. And then finally, in theme 3, which is innovation for small scale food producers, there are 9 amazing pictures today. And remember, even though there can only be one winner from those different themes, these can all be then put forward as scoping projects in a little bit of time. So keep these ideas coming. Think about regrouping after this. If you are unsuccessful, keep the teams going. And this is not the end. This is just the beginning. Right. Are you guys feeling energized today? Come on, jazz hands, everybody. Yeah, come on. This is great. Well, let's get into it then. I'm going to pass over to Sonal Chowdhury to go through the running order. But good to see you all. And thank you so much for engaging in this sandpit over the last couple of days.
Thank you, Christian. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can. You're in non-presenter mode. There we go. Perfect.
Perfect. So good morning, everyone. Thank you, Christian, for a wonderful introduction. I'm hoping that we are all energized now for today's pitch. So coming to theme 1, 2, and 3, the way we will start the voting would be with theme 1. So you would be doing your pitches, and then each pitch would be for 4 minutes per project, and then we would ask you to leave the room. So Gareth would be kindly facilitating you to leave the room. And in order to do that, could I ask everyone to put T1 before your name? So if you are in team 1, just put T1 before your name. Team 2, if you are in team 2 and you're pitching, then T2 before your name. And similarly for team 3, it is T3 before your name. If you could kindly change your name and just put T1, T2, T3 before your name, that would be super helpful for us because that will help us to identify who are pitching for team 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and if you're participating in more than one theme, then T1, T2, or all the 3 themes, some of the STFC people would be participating in all the 3 themes, I am assuming. So T1, T2, 3, so that after the pitch is over, we are going to move you to the waiting area. So basically, once the pitches for team 1 is over, all the team 1 members move to the waiting area, and then we would ask team 2 and team 3 to vote for the pitches for team 1. So everybody needs to be very attentive while the pitches are taking place, because you got the right and you got the capability to vote for the best project in that particular theme. So please, please do be present in this on this Zoom platform. And then towards the end, we are going to announce the results, and we will follow that up with the next steps. Right, voting criteria for everyone who are voting, and it would be to identify if the theme has presented, or if the pitch has presented the food challenge properly, the impact of that challenge, the methodology section, and the approach they are taking to integrate STFC capabilities, how well they have integrated their capabilities in addressing the problems. And then finally, what's next after that project? So have they identified the pathway for further development? So remember this diagram, and it would be very nice if you could identify where exactly your project sits, because that would help all the voters as well to vote out for the bigger, for the best project. Okay, so over to Christian, and he would be calling you out one by one in any order. Okay, so you can start your sharing your screen and presenting your pitches. Okay, and then you will also get a timer, which Gareth would be kindly sharing, so that you would know that it's going to be 4 minutes, and please at 4 minute dot we will be stopping you. So over to Christian and Gareth.
Thank you very much, Sonal. So please take note, I'm going to be calling the groups out in a randomized order. However, there is also a order when we go into voting. So we'll be reorganizing for that link. So that means the first group is going to be, looking up the random generator here, sensory perception and aroma profiling of cooked sweet potatoes using subjective and objective techniques. So that's, do we have that team here? Coventry University, is Isabella Nyambayo from Coventry, as well as the Google Doc is frozen, of course. This is always seamless. Isabella, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, so is that the group sensory perception and aroma profiling of cooked sweet potatoes using subjective and objective techniques? Are investigators from that here?
I'm here. Hello?
Hello, are you, sorry, Solomon?
So this is Taff. It's Taff speaking. Certainly
Yes,
the presentation's been prepared, so I'm expecting Isabella to be here.
Yes, Isabella is supposed to be here. She's the PI. I'm with.
Okay.
I'm with
Well, shall I go?
Christian, she's actually just joined. She's just joined from the waiting room now.
Seamless there. Okay. Good morning, Isabella. Very sorry to jump on you. You were randomly selected as the first presentation. Are you ready or prepared at the moment for this?
No.
No, let's go to a separate group and give you a few seconds to prepare then. Okay.
Yes, that's good.
Right, let's go to, on my random list, developing a methodology for an integrated multi-attribute sustainability index, a case for the UK food system. So that is Martine Barons at Warwick is the first person on the list of investigators. Caitlin Douglas Kings, Stasia Sterius Lancaster. Are those investigators, is Martine available?
Hi, Christian.
Martine, you're muted, I think.
Ray, stop sharing your screen.
It's Raymond. It's Raymond who's going to be presenting.
I'm here, but Raymond is going to do the presentation.
Right, perfect. Okay, seamless.
All right.
Right, Gareth has a timer which is on the Blue Sky timer app that some of you can see on your screen that he shared as one of the participants in it. When you're ready, take it away and he'll start the timer.
Okay, just a second, let me share my screen. Good morning, my name is Raymond, and today I'll be pitching a project developed by a multidisciplinary team of experts, which aims to develop a methodology for integrating the multiple attributes of sustainability into a comprehensive index that incorporates stakeholders' inputs. Today, there are over 106 countries having different national strategies for sustainability reporting, and there are yet over 120 voluntary sustainability standards, including eco-labels, codes of conduct, and audit protocols. The world over, there's an increasing demand for practical tools and unified methodologies to support food system sustainability assessment and decision-making in an integrated, data-driven manner. However, there are challenges in harmonizing and integrating sustainability data sets and in determining what indicators to include, how to rank them based on inputs from diverse stakeholders, and how they affect behavioral change. While most comprehensive sustainability studies include a series of environmental, social, nutrition, food security, and economic indicators, it's not always clear how these indicators are selected. Is it top-down? Is it bottom-up? And there's also the question about the comparative relevance of these different indicators to the key stakeholders in the food system. As such, there's a pressing gap to develop methodologies that integrate human health, environmental sustainability measures, as well as other sustainability measures to make them accessible to stakeholders so that we can inform food choices, health and nutrition policies, sustainability accounting, and improve the UK food system as a whole. In terms of our methodology, our core goal is to develop a method for creating this integrated sustainability index. And it will include stakeholder perspectives. And in this case, we'll be focusing on consumers in the UK. The objective is to make sure that it is scalable so that we can scale it up after the project. So what we'll do is we'll begin with a review of the sustainability indicators that exist, settle on a subset of indicators based on existing sustainability frameworks, identify publicly available data that can serve as proxies for these indicators, and then co-develop some sort of prioritization and metrics for these indicators with consumers to investigate the usefulness of the indicators using a multi-attribute utility measure for decision support. So we're asking questions like, are these attributes measurable? How do they scale in comparison to others, and so on? We'll then come up with an integrated indicator and develop an initial data set, validate the utility weightings provided by these consumers, and then visualize the indicator using the SFN capabilities of Stfc. In terms of impact, we'll pursue 4 routes to academic, business, and policy impact through research output, dissemination, uptake, and implementation. From our contacts in the London Food Board and other government agencies, we are aware that consumers are the key leverage point to enabling sustainable food systems. So there's a policy and industry need for a holistic integrated methodology for sustainability assessment that incorporates consumer voice. So we're certain that this research will have policy and business engagement impact. As some of you might be aware, there's now a global farm metric that's set to become the new standard for sustainability assessment in the UK. And it has buy-in and endorsement from the NFU, DEFRA, the 4 big supermarkets in the UK. But the index that's currently being piloted does not incorporate consumers' voices. And as such, it's not certain what consumers actually think the sustainability measures should look like and how they should be ranked. So such a comparative methodology and the outcome of our project will be useful for informing policy for both NFU, DEFRA, British Growers Association, and so on. And
thank you, Ray. That's time up. Thank you, Ray.
Well spoken, well spoken. Really exciting project there. Thank you very much. Please unshare your slides. So just reminding people, that was developing a methodology for integrated multi-attribute sustainability index, a case for the UK food system. So thank you very much. That was really exciting for the first one. Right, let's go back to my first randomly selected one, which was sensory perception and aroma profiling of cooked sweet potatoes using subjective and objective techniques, which was Isabella. Are you free now, Isabella?
Yes, I am.
Great.
Okay, let me just share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can. It's just full screen it and you're ready to go.
Okay. Yes. Good morning. My name is Isabella Nyambayo, and I'm going to present our project on sensory perception and aroma profiling of cooked sweet potatoes using subjective and objective techniques. The project is developed from the concept that a lot of COVID-19 cases which are, have been investigated had people who have lost sense of smell and sense of taste. And out of these cases, which is almost like 178 million cases, 60% of the patients experience loss of smell and taste, and almost 45% still persistently experience loss of smell and taste well after recovering from COVID. And these figures are still continuing to rise because the COVID is still going on due to the variants which are coming up. So it is really an issue that we need to look into, because the loss of smell and taste is resulting into food neophobia, which is a potential long-term impact on malnutrition and reduced immunity. And you'd see that this also has got an impact on loss of detecting off flavors from deteriorating food, which becomes food safety risk. So on our methodology, we are going to use panelists, which are going to sniff aromas from cooked foods. And we're also going to use objective analysis, where we will collect the aromas from these cooked foods and analyze using GC and MSC, GC-MSC. And we're also going to look at the data, analyzing it with commercial classification software. And from the SFT capabilities, we are looking at using that technology, the commercial classification software, and also any database that has been generated in the previous researches on character impact compounds. And our project, we have actually realized that there are other projects which have already been running in the STFC, the hatchery, on, for example, the one on whisk, which is using machine learning algorithms to process just GCMS data files. And we're actually anticipating our project data will also feed into this project that is already running. And on terms of commercial application, we are actually looking at our data can also be used by sweet potato breeders to enhance flavor in cultivars, and also by people who are struggling with, to smell foods to identify character impact compounds from cooked foods. And then after our project is finished, we are looking at collecting data through surveys from people who have suffered from COVID-19 pandemic or disease, and then collect their views on food perception and combine our data and their views to come up with a database of character impact compounds for main food groups, which could be fruits and vegetables, meat products, and dairy. And also, we are looking at developing strips that they can use, these sufferers, to sniff, to retrain their senses, or dip into food which is deteriorating, so that they can detect that the food is actually developing some odors. We are also thinking of an interactive volatile organic compound aroma odor detector, which can be a home gadget, which they can actually use to detect different, which can detect different aromas in the room, and also be used to detect odors in the room. And then there should be an interactive interface with the consumer, so that they can actually use it to train their smells again on the lost smell and taste.
Isabella, that's your 4 minutes up. Thank you very much.
That's okay. Thank you.
Brilliant presentation. Thank you. Please could you unshare, as it were, your screen?
That's okay.
And we'll go to the next group. So on the randomizer, we have establishing a rapid testing system for the contamination detection in African honey as a means of quality control and environmental modeling. So to repeat that, that's establishing a rapid testing system for contamination detection in African honey as a means of quality control. And the PI on that is Maria Anastatidsky. Sorry, Mike.
Hi.
There we are. Good to see you, Maria.
Hi, I'm actually Kawai. The PI is Bronson Ranagwa, but I will be doing the presentation today. So let me try to share my screen. Can you see my screen? Share.
We can now. Yes, it's just, there we go. We've got the full...
Let me try and start presentation. So you can see my first slide.
Perfect, full screen.
Good.
Are you ready?
I'm ready, thank you.
Let's start the timer.
So hi everyone, my name is Dr. Maria Anastasiadi. I'm from Cranfield University. Our project is entitled Establishing a Rapid Testing System for Contaminant Detection in African Honey as Means of Quality Control and Environmental Monitoring. As I said, the project lead is Bronson Ranagwa. We also have co-Is from Cranfield, Dr. Young, and from the STFC side, we have Dr. Martin Barons and Dr. Tom Kirkham. Honey is a completely natural product and a sought-after foodstuff for much of human history. The popularity of African honey is increasingly worldwide, with consumers showing preference for premium honeys such as acacia and organic forest honey, especially when it is fair trade. This has helped boost production and exports in recent years. However, this is not the whole picture. Only 5 African countries are allowed to export honey to the EU, and even so, they don't always meet standards, mainly due to the presence of pesticides and other contaminants. It is therefore important to tackle this issue by introducing a robust and affordable testing scheme, while also monitoring and regulating the use of pesticides by farmers. Protecting the beekeeping sector in Africa is more important now than ever, as it confers multiple benefits to the people and the environment. It contributes to reforestation by reclaiming land used for pasture. It provides pollination services, contributing to food security. Honey is a nutritious food, and it's important to ensure its safety. Also, beekeeping is an increasingly attractive source of income for people in rural areas, and especially women, as it can be much more profitable than pastoralism or farming. The methodology we propose is twofold. Firstly, we seek to address the lack of testing capacity. For this purpose, we propose the development of a sensitive and low-cost rapid test for contaminant detection using novel paper-based nanosensors. To achieve this, we will use surface-enhanced Raman spectroscopy, a powerful technique which provides a spectroscopic fingerprint of each molecule. The key to this technique is the electromagnetic enhancement achieved by the use of noble metal nanostructures embedded in non-expensive surfaces like filter paper, for example. Then the Raman spectra are taken using a handheld device, making the methods employable in field, which is a major advantage. The second aspect is to implement traceability system, which will enable us to trace each jar back to its apiary. We're currently developing an IT integrated system with QR codes linked to an online database. This will hold the analysis results from our tests, along with other data such as pesticide application, diseases, beehive losses, and ecotoxicity data. With the contribution of our STFC partners, we aim to implement traceability and using the arising big data to identify patterns and trends and establish links between certain agricultural practices and environmental impact. The success of the project will benefit directly the consumer and the industry by ensuring food safety and introducing quality assurance and traceability. A key aim is to engage with policymakers right from the start to introduce data-driven decisions for food regulation and environmental policies. We also aim to transition from a proof of concept to a commercial application offering affordable testing solutions. Other plans include delivering a policy brief and also peer-reviewed publications. Furthermore, we will target larger grants, including Horizon, Europe, and GCRFs, and we plan to engage with agri-food industry and government bodies, both in UK and Africa, to extend our methodology to other geographical areas and agri-food sectors. This will allow us to apply for DEFRA and UK grants such as NERC and Innovate UK. In conclusion, we will work with the STFC data science team to support a resilient honey supply chain in Africa and promote sustainable agriculture. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please unshare your screen and I'll get the randomizer up to look for the next one. Right. The next project is Impact of Mining-Induced Soil Degradation on Food Security in Sub-Saharan Africa. The impact of mining-induced soil degradation on food security in Sub-Saharan Africa. The PI of that is Gabin, I think. Are they here at the moment?
Gabin's the PI, but I'm presenting.
Okay, there we go. I've only got lists of PIs, so there we go. Right, Jonathan, please take it away.
Please let me know if you can see the slides.
We can see your slides, but not in full screen. Perfect.
Yeah.
Are you ready with the timer?
Cheers. So I'm Jonathan. I'm with the group you see below, and we'll be discussing the impact on food security of mining in Sub-Saharan Africa, specifically the Democratic Republic of Congo. So the issue is that over the last several decades, there's been an increase in mining activity for things like cobalt, lithium, stuff that goes in our electronics. That has led to some pretty hefty damage of the local environment, particularly soils, and that's weakened food security for what are pretty already vulnerable people. And it's had a particular impact on agriculture because not only does it directly affect the agricultural land in terms of degradation, but farmers tend to leave farming, they abandon their farms, to go and do mining, which is actually supported by the government through a series of policies that encourages artisanal mining when new minerals have been discovered, but it leads to a lot of negative use of certain chemicals. So although we know that the environment has been damaged, what we don't know is quite how the soil has been degraded, and we don't know the exact impact that that has had on food security in the area. Now, what we propose to do is to determine the extent of soil degradation from mining by using something called cosmic ray-induced neutron activation analysis. That can detect heavy metals in the soil, and this is a bit of a proof of concept type thing for this particular technology in this setting. And what that can help us do is determine possible future remediation efforts. What we also want to do is understand how land use has changed via satellite remote sensing to understand the impact that that will have had on food security over time. We'll also use crop modeling to do that. Because of Gabin's links with local researchers in the DRC, we also hope to do some bridging with researchers there and really tie in local stakeholders to these potential remediation efforts in future. Quick word on the methods, and if you have any questions about these, you have to direct them to someone else, but neutron sensing makes use of the neutrons that are scattered from the atmosphere when they're bombarded by cosmic rays. These go into the ground, they react with elements, they re-emerge, and they have a particular signature, which we can measure. Or you can just hit them with neutrons in a lab and you get the same effect. Satellite remote sensing you might be more familiar with. You can develop a time series and look at land use change over time to determine what the impacts might have been. In terms of Stfc capabilities, we're making use of fair data and open data. Gabin is based in Sheffield with the STFC. The technology, the cosmic ray induced neutron activation, is with Sam, also at the STFC, and we'd be making use of the ISIS at Sheffield and the RAL in Oxfordshire in terms of facilities. And what all this points to is hopefully a co-designed kind of system to mitigate soil degradation in future with regenerative agriculture, potentially different crops that might remediate soil as we go forward. And what we hope to do is create new channels between STFC and researchers in the DRC and explore how we might in future get the ground sensing equipment into the field as well. And I think that is everything.
Brilliant. Thank you very much there. Right, on to the next of the randomized ones. And for the next one, we have, sorry, my randomizer is just taking a little bit of time to load, which is always a joy. Right, so the next one after mining is circular urban vertical farming data, models and optimization of waste flows. That's circular urban vertical farming data, models and optimization of waste flows. And the PI of that is Peter Ball. Are you there? Could you please remove from screening, Jonathan? You're sharing still.
Yeah, where is that?
Probably at the top of your screen or the bottom, depending on.
I don't see anything.
I'll kick you off then. There we go. Oh, and I think I just kicked Peter off as well. Peter, do you want to reshare your screen?
Is it sharing now?
Perfectly, yes. There we go. Okay. Gareth, are you ready with the timer?
Good to go.
Let's go for it.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. Our project is Circular Urban Vertical Farming, Data Models Optimization and Waste Flows. The top part is our impact area and the lower part is our scientific advance area. So I will take you through that. So our challenge is to obtain and optimize data, and we are particularly focused on local reuse of food waste, and we're particularly focused on urban vertical farms. I'll explain what urban vertical farms are in a minute. If you take urban waste, apologies. If you take urban waste individually, there's not much of it. Collectively in an urban area, there's a lot, and we think there's an opportunity to use that locally. Data availability, It can be obtained, but it's currently poor. So we've got a combination of sourcing and inferring that data. We want to apply it to these things called urban vertical farms, where we grow in urban areas. And we are using data science to look at the flows within urban areas to optimize, to capture nutrients and use them. And interestingly, if we can do that, and I'll show you how in a minute, we want to engage the public. We want to engage consumers in seeing what's happening. The question of why now? Digital is on the advance. We can do much more with digital, but there's a rapid growth in urban vertical farms. So we want to put those two things together. The diagram on this page and the next one, anything in gray is what we know already. What we want to do is the blue bit. So we want to use data to bind these areas together. So our approach, we want to engage with stakeholders, restaurants, breweries, vertical farms. We've got two use cases that we want to focus on. These are the blue solid arrows in the diagram below. So one is feedstock for hydroponics. The other one is construction materials, either for construction of a vertical farm or retrofit cladding for insulation. Bottom right, there's a picture of an urban vertical farm. That's in the center of York. It's a shipping container. You can go up and look in, and you can see leafy salads being grown. Nearest restaurant, depending on whether you go one way or down, 3 meters, up, down, round. Nearest brewery is 3 minutes walk away. So there's a lot in city centres where food moves around, and we want to capture that. And we want to capture it with the blue dotted lines of the data flows and bring that together in the blue box to do the analytics. And we want to create a demonstrator and demonstrate to both the scientific community as well as the public what these flows are. So Stfc capabilities, the Daphne infrastructure, and particularly the data science for getting that data, cleaning it, harmonizing it, aggregating it, and to be able to look at these waste flows and discover where the optimization can be and make changes. So this will be probably my last slide, pathways to impact. We want to engage businesses, both the restaurants, breweries, but also the vertical farmers, the urban farmers, and we want the public to engage. So if it's in the city centre, then the public can engage with it. So our impact is on the businesses, and the scientific advance potentially could be exploited through what we understand from the integration. And our vision for future, we want to have publications, practitioner as well as academic, but I know the circular city is used elsewhere, but we're particularly interested in a very tight-knit local flows within urban areas, very, very localized, and to use what's there. I think that's where I'm going to end. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Peter. Perfect timing there. So if we stop sharing of screen, and we'll go on to the next of the projects. So the next project, number 5 on our list, is seasonal drift. Drift standing for drought impact forecasting under uncertainty. So seasonal drift, drought impact forecasting under uncertainty is the PI for that, which is Vicky Bolt here.
Yes, I'm here.
Wow, seamless. Okay, are you ready, Gareth, with the timer?
Good to go.
Vicky, take it away.
Okay, so on behalf of my team, it's my pleasure to introduce you to our project Seasonal Drift, which stands for Drought Impact Forecasting Under Uncertainty. So drought is a major source of food insecurity and is expected to intensify under climate change. And many agree now that acting early before a drought takes hold can reduce drought impacts and alleviate the worst in food insecurity. But acting early requires using forecasts to anticipate when drought is likely. Now, there are many products available now which can reliably forecast drought at useful lead times, but despite these improvements in forecasting, there hasn't been a comparable reduction in the impacts of drought. And so major actors now, including the World Meteorological Organization and the Red Cross, are calling for impact-based forecasting to reduce drought impacts. Now, impact-based forecasting means forecasting what the weather will do, not what the weather will be. The challenge with impact-based forecasting, however, is dealing with multiple sources of uncertainty. And that stems from firstly, predicting future weather, and secondly, relating that weather to its impacts. And uncertainty associated with forecasts can influence decision making. So it's really important to better understand how these multiple sources of uncertainty combine and propagate through the impact-based forecasting system to inform decision making. So seasonal drift aims to better characterize uncertainties associated with impact-based forecasting for drought. Specifically, we'll focus on impact-based forecasting of crop yield, which is heavily impacted by drought and directly underpins food insecurity, especially in the developing world. We're going to use probabilistic forecasts of drought to drive a crop model to predict maize yield in Kenya. Now, these probabilistic forecasts will include a vegetation condition forecasting system, which has previously been developed under an STFC project, Astrocast, and a soil moisture forecasting system. We're then going to use data science approaches developed under the STFC Fascination project to propagate uncertainties through a crop model to provide yield predictions with associated uncertainties. The project will be piloted in Kenya, where project members have got existing expertise, and on maize, which is an important food crop in Kenya. The resulting crop yield forecasts have the potential to predict yield shocks, local food insecurity, and impacts on regional trade. Yield forecasts will be co-developed with Kenya's National Drought Management Authority, and the National Drought Management Authority are committed to ending drought emergencies in Kenya through the provision of information and advisories. And project members have previously worked with the National Drought Management Authority to install the vegetation condition and soil moisture forecasts in their monthly drought bulletins. These bulletins are shared widely with stakeholders, including ministries for agriculture and health, disaster management actors, and agricultural extension services. And what we plan to do is install seasonal drift yield forecasts similarly in the NDMA's monthly drought bulletins to inform a wider variety of stakeholders. And so beyond the project, we'll be leveraging existing connections with African National Meteorological Services and disaster risk managers, particularly the Kenya Red Cross Society and the Red Cross's Climate Centre, to disseminate a publication of this pilot project and to scale up the project approach to the Greater Horn of Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa more widely. We'll apply for further funding to support this scale-up effort, and also to pursue future research ideas, including incorporating decadal and climate projections to identify crop growing regions at risk of future droughts, and involving experts in the global food trade to identify cross-border climate vulnerabilities associated with drought in sub-Saharan Africa. And whilst our project aims may seem ambitious, our methods are based on operational drought forecasting systems, which have already had significant impact in sub-Saharan Africa, and our pathways to impact are based on partnerships and communication channels established through existing STFC projects. Thank you very much.
Perfect timing there, Vicky. So thank you very much for that. If you could unshare your screen, we will go on to redesign the dairy supply chain towards net zero scenario analysis. That's redesign the dairy supply chain towards net zero scenario analysis.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I was just going to look up. Thank you, Maro. Yes. Are you able to share your screen?
Perfect. Yes, I am. Give me a moment. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yep, perfect. So full screen away. So that's in presenter view, so we can, yeah, you already knew what we were going to do.
Yes.
Okay, Gareth, are you ready with the timer?
I am.
Okay, rock it.
Okay, so hello everyone. Our team is comprised by the University of Nottingham, the IntelliDigest Ltd company, and the AgriEpi Center. And we are supported by STFC. And our project title is Redesign the Dairy Supply Chain Towards Net Zero Scenario Analysis. So the challenge is to address the net zero target for a high emitting sector, the dairy industry. UK has a huge production of dairy, since 80% of dairy that it consumes is produced in the UK. In the UK, food systems are a mix of global, national, and local supply chain and comprise a lot of energy use and emissions. The UK currently wastes about 10.2 million tons of food every year. All this are affecting the emissions of the supply chain. However, the food sector has the ambitions to reach net zero levels by 2040. The main aim of this project is to address this very urgent problem and identify the most sustainable dairy supply chain configurations in terms of energy and waste carbon footprint. How we will do this? So the first step is to collect data via interviews undertaken by the Agri-Epicenter with actors of the supply chain, such as the farmers, the processors, and the retailers. This data will be imported into a holistic mathematical model of the supply chain that calculates the carbon emissions from energy use, developed by the University of Nottingham site. Data will also be imported to a waste emissions calculating tool to quantify the carbon emissions from waste. This tool is developed from the IntelliDigest. Simulations will be pursued for different configurations and combinations for supply chain, and scenario analysis will be undertaken. These results will reveal the less emitting possible configurations of the supply chains. This information can help decision makers of the supply chain to really move towards net zero. The timeline of this working plan is on the right side. So here, a lot of information, but it's our work plan. Work package 1 is the Agri-Epicenter. They will help on stakeholder engagement and data collection to support work package 2 and 3, and up to 2,500 pounds will be allocated for this work package. Work package 2 is the University of Nottingham, and it is responsible for energy modeling, where up to £1,000 are allocated for site visiting and equipment for modeling. Work package 3, the IntelliDigest Center will be responsible for food waste modeling, and up to £2,500 are allocated for working hours. And finally, work package 4, the STFC will support with improved data collection and data analysis for supporting all work packages. So by the end of the project, the outcomes will be presented in a report or tool format to support decision makers. During and after the end of the project, a detailed proposal for further development will undergo. Specifically, we will follow up with a proposal for funding from different organizations. Publications in a high impact factor will be our goal as well. And sector dissemination activities through blogs and white papers from companies will be undertaken. We strongly believe that our plan is achievable and can have a huge positive impact in moving to a more sustainable with less greenhouse gas emissions.
That's time up, Maro. Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you very much, though, for that. That was a great presentation there. Gosh, so I think that's all 7 in this group, if I'm correct. So we have developing the methodology. In fact, I've written a small slide up here. Give me a second just to bring it up on screen, and we can go through it right now. So let me just present. So Gareth, correct me if I'm wrong, is now the time that we vote for the first block?
Yeah, so Christian, if you could just share your slide, and then I can ask people one more time to amend their names if they haven't done so as of now. So everyone, if you are pitching today, then please add either T1 being Team 1 pitches. So if you have pitched for Team 1, then you would be writing T1, T for Tango, just before your name. If you are pitching for Team 2, then you would be writing T2 before your name. And if you're pitching in Team 3, then you're writing T3 before your name. And if you're pitching for more than one team, then accordingly, you know, T1, T2, or T1, T3, that sort of thing. And if you're not pitching today, then you don't need to do anything. Just leave your name as it is, and we will keep you in the room for voting. So what will happen now is that all the T1 people are going to be in the waiting area. And we would ask all the remaining participants here to vote for one of their favorite projects, which they think that it is achievable, impactful, and it addresses the STFC capabilities very well in the research problem. Okay, so Gareth? If you could start.
I'll start going through the list now. This will take just a couple of minutes to put everyone in the waiting room. So I'll be as quick as I can.
I'll highlight while Gareth's just putting people into the waiting room that the first presentation was the multi-attribute one there. However, sensory perception of aroma of the sweet potatoes came higher in the list, and because of the order of operation, how we actually presented them today. So these are not in exactly the order they were presented because of the randomized at the start, and I made an error on the slide just now before putting it up. So my apologies of live streaming Google Docs, as it were. So apologies about that, but this is the order we will be voting in. So just to go through them again, option 1 is developing a methodology for an integrated multi-attribute sustainability case of the UK food system. Option 2, establishing a rapid testing system for contaminant detection in African honey as a means of quality control and environmental modelling. Option 3, impact of mining-induced soil degradation on food security in Sub-Saharan Africa. Option 4, circular urban vertical farming data, models and optimization of waste flows. Option 5, seasonal drift, drought impact forecasting under uncertainty. Option 6, redesign the dairy supply chain towards net zero, scenario analysis. And option 7, sensory perception and aroma profiling of cooked sweet potatoes using subjective and objective techniques. So 7 amazing projects there, and I would easily give money to all of these projects. Sadly, I'm not the one who's deciding today. You guys are deciding in this room of themes 2 and 3 are deciding for theme 1. Likewise, theme 1 will decide for 2 and 3, etc. So we're trying to make it as even as possible. And then again, remember, I encourage you to think about how we can make these into scoping projects afterwards. So Gareth's given me the thumbs up. So let's unleash the poll.
Okay, just before I do, just one final check. Is there anyone left in the meeting that is involved in a theme 1 project? You let me know now if I've missed anyone.
Yeah, you can just unmute your mic and let me know.
Topista.
Me over here.
Yeah.
So Tia Pista, okay, let me just find you.
Bronson as well. Anyone else? For those who are voting, if you just want to maybe recap and quickly look into the slides that they've presented, Gareth, would you mind sharing the link for the YouTube, or you can just copy the link?
I'll do that in a second. Yeah, sorry. Can I launch the poll now? I think we're ready to go. Let's go.
Launch the poll.
Yes, Liz. Observers certainly allowed to vote. Please do.
And again, I think these are some amazing. Like every time we do a sandpit, I'm just amazed at the quality of projects we get and ideas we get, and just new ways of thinking how we can take STFC tech facilities, equipment, etc. How we can take this specialist knowledge and apply it to the food challenge. And it's just amazing seeing from thinking about theme 1 at the moment in terms of thinking about these food systems and beyond greenhouse gas emission impacts in terms of production, consumption, etc. Just some amazing projects here using very, very different parts of STFC technology capabilities and staffing as well. And I think all of these are just amazing things that we could go on, and please do put in scoping projects. I know we're not talking to theme 1 at the moment, but there we go. But again, I know you all have amazing projects as well coming up in themes 2 and 3. So this is great. Right, so we have 46 out of 51 people have voted. That's a 90% return rate. That's better than some elections in some parts of the country. So let's have a think. Are we going to give for? So it's seeming stable. I'm going to give it another 10 seconds to vote. Then we'll close it. Seeming stable. No, up to 94%. Thank you very much. So only a few people left who've not voted.
Please feel free to vote.
Thinking about it, that might just be us.
That could be us, actually. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, we are not allowed to vote.
Yeah, we're not allowed to vote. That's unbiasing. Right. Okay. So now, can you see the poll results once I click end polling? or Gareth clicks send polling? Because are we announcing now, or are we announcing all of them at the end, I guess is the question.
No, everything towards the end.
Everything's at the end, right? I have to sit on this result for another couple of hours. Gosh, this is going to be hard. Okay, how exciting. Right, shall we pause the poll then and get everybody back and go on to theme 2?
That's done.
Okay, brilliant. Let's bring everybody back and go on to theme 2. So I'll stop sharing and let's get everybody back into the room. Thank you, everybody. Those were some brilliant projects there. So exciting just to see the possibilities of SFC capabilities being applied to these big food challenges. Right, okay. I think we've got everyone back. So the first presenter of theme 2 is going to be getting the randomizer up. Theme 2 is going to be fish drying time prediction using machine learning for solar tent dryer. That sounds amazing. So do we have the presenter for fish drying time using solar tent dryer? Are they here? Okay,
here. I'm here.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
Hello,
so,
I'm here.
Brilliant,
Yes.
Innocent. Okay. Couldn't see you with your T2 on the front. All good. Can you share your screen?
Okay.
How's it coming? Yep, there we go. Okay. So if you go to full screen mode, and Gareth, are you ready with the timer?
Good to go.
Let's start it then, Innocent.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Innocent Gumurira from Malawi, and I'll be pitching on fish drying time prediction using machine learning for solar tent dryer. So currently in Lake Malawi, there is an increased dwindling of fish catches, especially the big ones being replaced by the small ones. And as I'm talking now, these small lake sardines that we are catching that grow up to a maximum of 14 millimeters are the ones that are in abundance, and they are delicate as well. Delicate in the sense that once they're not processed on time, then they get rotten or they go bad. So processors have to make sure that once these fish have been caught from the lake, they go straight to the processing plants. And in Malawi, basically most of the people, they process their fish by sun drying. However, FAO in 2010 documented that high post-harvest losses are rampant, and currently they are hovering at around 40%. And this is a big problem in Malawi because this lake sardine, these small lake sardine fisheries, they are contributing about 70% of the total landings from the lake. Therefore, we really have to manage, we have to find a way of making sure that we conserve these fish so that they get to the market in good shape. With that in mind, we decided to develop a solar tent dryer. As you can see on the right, this is the solar tent dryer. It's a wooden frame covered with a UV treated plastic bag. This frame keeps the fish inside and dries them faster. It reduces the microbial load because it prevents houseflies from getting into them. And at the same time, it has also improved the shelf life of the fish because it dries the fish to a level of moisture content that helps the fish to stay long on the shelf. So this is a very good technology that we have designed. However, we have seen that there is a problem in the sense that when you want to determine what time are we supposed to take out the fish from this solar tent dryer for packaging or for sale, then we needed to weigh all the fish to make sure that we see the change in temperature. So if you see that there's no longer change in temperature after some 2-3 days of drying, then you notice that, okay, so this is probably the right time that we're taking the fish out. So we are saying, no, there has to be a way of doing it. Therefore, we are planning to do this machine learning technique so that we improve the solar tent drying efficiency, reduce food waste, because if we preserve it at the right time, food waste is going to be reduced, and contamination, more especially during the weighing process, we also increase the contamination. So to reduce this, we also want to use this machine learning. The methodology, we'll develop a machine learning to predict fish drying time, and this is going to be done using the climatic weather data conditions that are going to be prevailing in the solar tent dryer. So we'll have a machine, we'll have a weather data equipment that is going to be collecting all this information. And this information is going to be combined with the algorithm to come up with a model, and that is going to inform the predictions and probably be able to help us determine at least with great precision, the exact time that the fish can be taken out without handling or contaminating the fish. In this case, we use the Stfc services of data science and high performance computing for data storage, managing, and at the same time for model development. The pathways. So basically, we're just trying to look at the timing. How much time do we need before we take out the fish? So we'll do most of our work with the stakeholders. And in this case, I'll be talking about the fish processors themselves that are carrying this.
Thank you, Innocent. That's your time. So thank you very much.
We'll have
Innocent, sorry, I have to cut you off there. That's your 4 minutes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Innocent. So on to the next project, developing a data-driven communication platform for improving farmed fish distribution in Kenya. That is developing a data-driven communication platform for improving farmed fish distribution in Kenya. Do we have the PI or presenter from that ready to go?
Hi, Chris. I'll be sharing my screen now. This is Oznur.
Brilliant, Oznur. We'll just, yep, we've got it. Gareth, are you ready with the timer?
Good to go.
Let's go, Oznur.
Hi, all. Our project aims to improve farmed fish distribution in Kenya. And for the same, we'll be developing a data-driven communication platform. There's a gap between supply and demand of fish in Kenya. That's why there is post-harvest losses and wastage, which has been a critical issue in the farmed fish supply chains in Kenya. But there's a potential solution for this. There might be some improvements on capacity management through enhancing the communication between different supply chain actors like farmers, distributors, and consumers. That's why we aim to propose a data-driven communication platform. But at this stage, this will be a proof of concept, and we will be just covering 2 fish producers and 2 fish retailers as the customers at this stage. It will be an affordable and user-friendly platform. Our platform will balance supply and demand through 2 main ways. First, the customers will be notified when the fish will be available with the demanded price and state. Second, a smart contract system, such as blockchain, will be used. And this platform will be adapting an agreement between mainly the customers and sellers. And it will be supporting the trading contract system, which is currently being used in Kenya. And it will be adapting a central aggregation of data in the cloud system, particularly for Open Society and Conservation International. We'll be using a mixed method. We'll start with conducting interviews with the stakeholders and develop a database for the supply chain, relevant supply chain actors. And then we will conduct a questionnaire survey in order to better understand the details of the needs of the actors. And most importantly, we will collect real-time data. Then we will organize some workshops, and in the end, we will develop the architecture of our pilot platform and test it. We'll be using several data science sources and expertise, particularly the scientific computing department and Heart3 of STFC, particularly for developing communication platforms for supply chain members, Heart3 for blockchain and smart contracts. When we are analyzing and evaluating the alternative protocols and making a decision about the appropriateness of the ideal protocols, developing a platform on a particular commercial cloud provider and accessing to other facilities. There will be several pathways to impact. First, loss and wastage at all stages of the supply chain will be minimized. Then the capacity building will be supported for all actors. And farmed fish access will be improved. Accordingly, the fish consumption per capita will be increased. Reliable sector data will be available for all supply chain actors, and we will be supporting the decisions of policymakers, especially the policymakers such as Kenya Fish Marketing Authority. And then our project progress and findings will be disseminated through several ways like social media, workshops, trainings, conference, and publications, both journal articles and policy-oriented papers. After this project, we are aiming to further develop our platform by adding features as pricing optimization and forecasting techniques. We will be upscaling and outscaling the project in Kenya and other regions, and we will be adapting with other ongoing projects in Kenya. And we will be particularly referring to...
That's the 4 minutes up, Ozza. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Okay, next up is Mersey Mussels and More, scoping the viability of aquatic food production. So that's Mersey Mussels and More, scoping the viability of aquatic food production. I'm guessing that's Lucy who just waved. Great. Would you like to share your screen?
Okay, has that worked?
Yep, you just have to go full screen, please.
Yeah, just heading that bit.
Gareth, when you're ready.
All good?
All good, start away.
Wonderful, thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Lucy and I'm from the NGO Feedback, and the team consists of Jimena Schmidt from Brunel University, Joanna Gosling from the University of Stirling and Arch UK, and Teresita Suarez Noyes from the University of Edinburgh. And we are looking at a place-based project that offers outcomes including fair food economies, supporting of citizens' health, and also looking at nutrition-sensitive land use. We want to create a lived experience of participating in food systems, and we also are looking to offer circularity around economics as well as nutrients. So we'd be looking at employment and fair wages as well. The production side is a revitalised local food production system created by maybe redeveloping Liverpool's oyster beds and also cultivating multi-trophic, nutritionally dense future foods. So we're looking at things like mussels and seaweeds that would also allow for carbon capture while providing maximum nutritional value for minimum environmental impact. The access side of this is really important as well. So we want to create a deep community engagement in creating new food systems. We want to ensure that fresh food access is a possibility for everyone, irrespective of your income or location, and how we can reimagine the food supply chain to be shortened and made more accessible within a 15-minute city. As consumers become more engaged in the enterprises and the processes of producing and using food, they will also learn its value. The improved access will provide opportunities for community integration and flexible social support networks that include groups who are often excluded. We will be looking to reduce social isolation, building cohesion, and making fresh seasonal food the norm. So the pilot is a regional social enterprise, part of future networks of similar enterprises working with local procurers. If not now, when? We have an unparalleled opportunity to harness new tech and data collection to support sustainable food, create a resilient food supply, and improve nutrition for consumers. The problem is that we are investing in innovation and is expensive and risky for both big and small players. And our solution is to accelerate food production innovation through testing and prototyping of state-of-the-art technology, weighing up both the risks and benefits. How we're going to do that is a range of proposed methodologies, including mapping, water quality assessment, feasibility of aquatic food species suitable for recirculating aquaculture systems or using aquaponics. Our impact. We want to enable the potential of coastal areas for sustainable aquatic food production. Our activity will centre on engagement with a wide range of stakeholders, from consumers to industry to political actors, for example, the Metro Mayors. What would be next would be publication of studies, creation of a toolkit, pitching to investors, and running a pilot scheme that could then be duplicated in other spaces. And this is where we fit. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Lucy. Right, moving on, we have identified structure-function relationships of seaweed cell wall for metalloid-free high-yield protein extraction. That's identify structure-function relationship of seaweed cell wall for metalloid-free high-yield protein extraction.
So, can you see my screen?
We can, Parag.
Hi, great. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much, Christian. On behalf of our team, I'm presenting the team consists of University of Greenwich, University of Lincoln, Born Maverick Food Innovation Limited, and also ISIS, the STFC facility. So actually what we would like to do is identify the structure-function relationship in terms of having a high yield protein extraction. Now, okay, so let's start with the fact that why we would like to go for this. Our food system is broken. We know that in terms of sustainability and resilience and climate change impact. And also the resource that the current food system is incurring is quite high. Now, sustainable diet shift is needed to attain the UK net zero carbon emission by 2050. Now, alternative protein can enable the sustainable diet shift, considering the fact that livestock having like 14.5% of the total greenhouse gas emission and 33% of arable land and 23% of fresh water consumption, alternative protein is a choice. Now, why seaweed? The question is, of course, the fact that this requires no terrestrial land use and zero pollution for pesticides and quite high yield of protein very important fact, if we can extract these to the fullest. Now, what is stopping us? Of course, the major factor is poor protein extractability as of now. And second thing, there is a restricted knowledge in terms of metalloid contents which impact on the food safety and also the off taste of the sensory. Now, as you also know that, current alternative market is full of almost 60% soya, which incurs a lot of deforestation in Brazil and Tesco has banned. So we really need to move into a new alternative protein and where seaweed is the choice. And considering the coastal size of the UK, actually this is quite strategic for UK. Now, in terms of methodology, what we would like to do. Now, in terms of, there are three things that we will do. First is, of course, we would like to analyze the structure of the cell wall, which is actually hindering the protein extraction in using the high resolution structure analysis from STFC facilities. And that will be linked to the extraction efficiency of the extraction methods. Of course, currently the extraction is used basically solvents, which is the low cost, but it is unsustainable. And also another reason is that this is quite high time consuming, still low efficacy. And another factor, they use sodium sulfate, which is, ammonium sulfate, which actually due to reasons we cannot use in the food grade or food system. So our plan is to use some novel technologies like ultrasound, bead milling, or high pressure homogenizer, which is to break the cells, include also some of the enzymatic technologies, and then to use membrane filtration, which has not been used so far in the protein concentration level. So there are two steps in the extraction. And then we would actually like to assess the purity and functions of this protein in terms of various factors like sensory and denaturation, where actually industry will give an in-kind support of £2,500 to do this. With that, let's move on to the fact that what is the impact that this will bring. There are the first three bullet points on the business impact. So it will unlock the new market for the seaweeds. Also,
hi, Parag. I'm sorry, I'm afraid that's time up. Thank you very much.
Sorry. Right, thank you very much, Parag. That was really interesting to see how it devolved since after I'd left the room, because that was the room I was facilitating in Theme 2's workshop. And for the final of the Theme 2 pitches today, we have identification and monitoring of fish cage aquaculture with remote sensing and machine learning. That's identification and monitoring of fish cage aquaculture with remote sensing and machine learning. Do we have the PI for that here?
Yes, I'm available.
Hi, Safina. Could you please share your screen?
Yes. Okay, you can see my screen?
Perfect. If you could just go to full screen, we'll start the timer when you're ready.
Yes. So my project title is Identification and Monitoring of Fish Cage Aquaculture with Remote Sensing and Machine Learning. They call me Safina Musa. So for the background, Lake Victoria is the second largest freshwater lake in the world, and approximately 40 million people directly depend on its fisheries for food. However, statistics has shown that wild stock from Lake Victoria are declining from overfishing, amongst other factors, while demand for fish protein is increasing due to rapid human population. So this has increased interest into cage fish farming as an alternative source of fish. However, with the rapid expansion of cage culture currently in the lake, this is occurring without regulation, without control, such that you find some of these cages, in fact, most of these cages are located in non-suitable areas, such as fish breeding areas, boat transporters, and shallow areas. These can have adverse environmental outcomes. Hence, there's need for robust evidence-based decision on site suitability, not only for environmental protection, but also for the sustainability of this sector. So for methodology, we propose to use remote sensing to monitor Lake Victoria. And in particular, we are going to collect and process bands from Sentinel-2, a planet high resolution imagery, to form metrics of water quality on both temporal and spatial scales, similar to the figure shown on your right. In addition, we are also going to use data science techniques from STFC to carry out time series modeling and change detection of relevant metrics at known fish cage sites. So from this modeling, we can then understand the water quality associated with the cage sites and whether there's any significant changes over time. And by matching these changes to know the periods of activity, then we can learn what environments are required for fish cages to be productive. We can also be able to build up thresholds at which the cages are operational. So using the land thresholds or water quality, then we can be able to deploy some of these cages to the right sites. For the impacts, identification of suitable sites will guide policy development towards relocating most of these cages to suitable sites, and this will reduce conflicts between cage farmers and other lake users. We also foresee that this will foster ecosystem approach to fisheries management. And we propose that future studies could include hydrography, wave height, and carrying capacity for identifications of sites. And these results of this study will translate to the first publication using remote sensing and machine learning for identification of suitable sites for Lake Victoria. So those are some of the areas of STFC, that is on the data science technique. And those are some of our project team members. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Safina. That looks really an exciting project in terms of some of the things that you're doing in there. In fact, all of the 5 that we've pitched so far seem to me to be super exciting projects. So, Gareth, you're now going to extract everybody with a Theme 2 name badge on the front of them, if that's at all possible, and we'll get to the voting, because again, these are some amazingly brilliant projects that are coming around seafood, aquaculture, and seafood supply chains as well. So it's just amazing to see these variety of projects that, you know, when we were thinking in terms of STFC Food Network 1 or STFC Food Network 2, there's been less investigation of food from the sea or aquaculture-based supply chain. So it's amazing to see these 5 projects there. And of course, one of them today will walk away funded, but I encourage all of them to put in scoping applications coming up. And as well, if you've been inspired, other investigators, think about ocean-based challenges in regards to the Sustainable Development Goals and other food system issues. We're all connected within the food system, and it's amazing to see all these brilliant projects, and also all of these different STFC capabilities, from satellites to robotics to imaging to sensing. You know, we've seen all the different strands of STFC mentioned in the briefs and pitches so far in themes 1 and theme 2, which is really exciting to see. Right, Gareth, is that everybody?
I think so, Christian. Yeah, can I just check, is there anyone left in the meeting that's involved in a theme 2 project? Please identify yourself.
You can just unmute and let us know, please.
While that's happening, I'm just going to share my screen with the voting order on. So we have the voting order on. So option number 1 is fish drying time prediction using machine learning for a solar tent dryer. Option number 2, developing a data-driven communication platform for improving farm fish distribution in Kenya. Option number 3, Mersey mussels and more, scoping the viability of aquatic food production. Option number 4, identify structure-function relationships of seaweed cell wall for metalloid-free high-yield protein extraction. And option number 5, identification and monitoring of fish cage aquaculture with remote sensing and machine learning. So has anybody left in here from theme 2 before we begin the vote? Wonderful. Okay, Gareth, do you want to unleash the poll?
Yeah, so there is a question, are observers allowed to vote? And the answer is yes, because you have been listening to the project. And so please, we would really like your help in order to identify which one is really going ahead.
There's some really exciting projects here as well. I think you'll all agree in terms of the range, the challenges, how they're actually using STFC tech, and also the impact that they could have. Like, all of these sound super, super exciting. Right, 77% voted. Come on, guys, you can do this. I know it's a really hard choice.
I know it's difficult to choose, guys, but please
It's really difficult to choose. Okay, 88%, we're nearly at 90%. Come on, guys. I'm going to give it another 10 seconds. It could be that myself, Sonal and Gareth haven't voted, and therefore that's what the system is showing as the last voters, but 10 more seconds to see if anybody wants to vote. Please do vote.
I think there's just one extra person who hasn't voted.
Okay.
Okay, end it there.
Let's end it there then. Amazing. Thank you guys for voting. That was neck and neck in terms of some of the results. You'll see them in a very short while, but first let's go on to theme 3. Okay, let's get everyone back.
Christian, I think we promised people a break at this point.
Oh, okay. Let's have a break.
You're so eager to go.
Around. Let's have a tea and coffee break and be back for theme 3 and then the results.
I'll just bring everyone back into the meeting so we can explain. We're going to go on break and then there we go.
Right, hello everybody. So you're all back in the room. Good to see you all here. Thank you so much for all staying with us this long. We're going to have a short break, so we'll be back at 11 o'clock. So is that correct for timing? So 11 o'clock, so 8 minutes. Please move around. Please, do some RSI exercises. Have a drink and beverage of your choice, and we'll be back at 11 o'clock. So in 8 minutes time. But great to see you all here. Thank you for keeping the energy up. And I'm super excited to see theme 3. So great work, everybody. And, this would be amazing if we were in person, because there would be some fresh fruit and possibly more unhealthy things on a buffet. Get your own if you you want to tweet at STFC Food what thing you're eating during the break, go and take a photo of it if you want, and tweet at STFC on Twitter at Tech Food Network what the snack is that you're having in this break, and we might see if any come through there. Okay, guys, see you in 8 minutes time. Right, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. So, great to see you all. I very much miss in-person coffee breaks, as you can probably tell. Hopefully, you've all had a lovely break just now, and had been revived. You've moved around a little bit. You're not just sitting in one position for health and safety, all of those sorts of things. And we're now moving on to theme 3 of our pitch session. So we've just had themes 1 and 2, and now we're moving on to theme 3 of the pitch sessions. Of course, theme 3's pitch sessions are around innovations for small-scale food producers. And there are 9 pitches within this session, so slightly more than the last couple. So we thought after a break is a very good idea. Hopefully you're all revived. If you've just joined us again, please, if you're on Zoom, put in T1, T2, Team 3, or observer in your profile there, just so you can actually Gareth, our Zoom wizard, can do everything behind the scenes in terms of getting people into the right rooms. Right, hopefully we are all back, we're all revved, we're ready to go. And with that in mind, let's just see, I'm going to give it one more minute just to make sure everybody is back, because I see a few theme 3 cameras might not be on, so I'm not sure if people are here, but let me do a randomize here, okay? Okay, in the spreadsheet from the theme 3 items, do we have, to start off, strengthening the capacity of youth farmers and improving market access for melons in Labuan, Bajau, East Nusa Tenggara? Do we have?
Yes. Okay,
oh,
so
there we are. Okay.
The
Brilliant, Inda. Yes, okay. Could we, can you present? Perfect.
Okay, so I will start. Okay, so as a principal investigator, I will present our pitch with the title Strengthening the Capacity of Young Farmers and Improving Market Access for Melons in Labuan Bajo, East Nusa Tenggara, Indonesia. And this project is also supported by Teresita as the Stfc expert. Okay, let's start with the food challenge. So I will give a short introduction that Labuan Bajo is another beautiful destination for tourism after Bali. And annually we receive around 250 people that coming to this island. However, due to the COVID pandemic, nobody come to us anymore, and people are losing their jobs, and they are looking for another opportunity, such as in agriculture. However, that's not easy. Here we see the picture of the melon farmers. They are harvesting their crops, and they are facing 2 major challenges. On farm, there is a problem with the cost inefficiency because they cannot use the agri input properly. They don't know how to measure the pesticide and also the fertilizer, and it causes the low productivity, and it is worsened by the changing rainfall patterns. After they harvested their crops, the problem doesn't stop because they don't know how to go to market access. For example, many big competitors with the big producer from different islands also exporting their melons to this island. So the smallholder farmers do not have the bargain and also cannot have a good price for their melons. And this is what we propose. So we want to establish a depot plots with the crops melons. And with this melon, we also install sensors that can collect the information about the rain intensity, humidity, light, temperature, and wind. And the sensor will send the information to the cloud server and also to the dashboard. And here we need the expertise from Teresita, from the STFC, to analyze the data and also using the probabilistic techniques, for example, using the machine learning, so we can have a best analysis and also find the right algorithm. And we will share the information to other farmers, for example, during the training of farmers, and also inviting them to visit our field day. And how is our impact? So based on our previous experiences in different locations, we see that after implementing this technology and innovation, there is a 30% increase in productivity and 50% increase in operational efficiency and 40% increase in water and fertilizer efficiency. To ensure that this project will be sustainable even after the funding from STFC ended, we also have a good collaboration with the local government, private sectors, consumers, collectors, village leaders, farmer group, and also vocational schools that will be the future young farmers. And this project is also supported by our social media. So we have a good engagement with the customer, with the consumers, with the farmers, and also traders to promote the sustainable agriculture. And here, for example, our Facebook have 21,000 followers. And also we are also active in Instagram, YouTube, and we also do regularly online webinars. And this is what we see, the good collaboration with the STFC on data science technology, both in the sustainable food production and also resilient food supply chains. Thank you for your attention and hope you choose for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Inda. An amazing project there. Okay, on to the next one, which is downscaling satellite data to better characterize hailstorms in Kenya. Downscaling satellite data to better characterize hailstorms in Kenya. Do we have the PI there? James, you've already beaten me to it. Brilliant.
Okay, thank you. And I wish to present our project, which is downscale hail. And primarily, we are just downscaling the satellite data to better characterize the hailstorms in Kenya. In regard to the team, we are a team of 4 with various expertise to be able to execute this scoping project. Agriculture is the bedrock of Kenya's economic development and employs a third of the total population, most of them the small-scale farmers. In our case study of Nyandarua, 96% of the county population are primarily small-scale farmers who derive their livelihoods from the growing of potatoes. However, they are faced with numerous stress from climate. On this instance, we're talking about the hailstorms, which have devastating impacts leading to yield loss and livelihoods. Currently, we do not have data or enough data to be able to characterize and understand the loss that emanates from hailstorm. Therefore, this pilot project aims at mapping the hailstorms hotspots to inform the government policy, farmers' strategies, as well as insurances.
Right. So how are we going to solve this challenge? So our approach is to collate hail metrics for the pilot study area, Yangzhou in Kenya. So hail damage information will be collected from smallholders led by the University of Sussex. And we'll also use an African precipitation data set, which is produced by TAMSAT and provided through the University of Reading. So Weather Logistics will explore the use of large volumes of data that are stored on the Science and Technology Facilities Council CEDA archive, and we'll discover these links between precipitation intensity and other related weather variables to try and get a hail data set. And this data set will be provided at 100-meter resolution, so downscale version, to identify these hotspots. We'll also use Jasmine computing facilities to do the necessary data processing. Next.
So within the project, we will establish links with the county government and agricultural extension services to gather data on crop damage caused by hail. And the project will also support early career researchers in project leadership and management roles, supporting their further career development. Further, we plan to publish a scientific article and a technical briefing to describe the downscale data set, and that will help to inform Kenya's agricultural sector transformation and growth strategy 2019 to 2029. And we also plan to put together a larger funding proposal to extend the region which this data set applies to, and to engage weather index insurance partners to establish weather index insurance programs to support farmers when they're affected by hailstorms. Next. So we thank you very much for listening, and hope that you understand and are interested in our project. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was, again, like, oh my gosh, all these projects are so exciting and using so many different parts of STFC capabilities. Right, the next one is modeling, optimizing and identifying novel sites for urban food production. That's modeling, optimizing and identifying novel sites for urban food production.
And that would be me, Christian. Can you see my slides?
We can, yes, if you go full screen, please.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, thank you, Christian, and good morning, everyone. I want you all this morning to imagine food growing in urban spaces. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Multi-story car parks, shopping centres, hospital rooftops? Probably not. But vacant, underutilised space occupies nearly a quarter of total area of many cities. And although vacant, it's literally filled with potential for urban food growing. Growing food on vacant land can enhance sustainability of the food supply system by reducing the burden on existing growing spaces and can bolster resilience by spreading the risk of disruptions. But which vacant spaces are most suitable for food growing? Our project's aim is to build a decision-making platform to assess the viability of these vacant urban spaces for food production and to develop a long-term decision-making platform that can be used in any urban or potentially rural space globally. So what we're proposing today is a pilot project where we work with STFC data scientists to build a decision-making platform for vacant spaces in Sheffield. The first step is to obtain existing crop yield data for several different types of growing space and work with STFC to develop an existing probabilistic crop growth model, fascination. And at this stage, what we're trying to understand is what drives yield across different growing spaces. We're then going to build on this by compiling existing environmental data sets, soils and weather variability to predict yields across vacant spaces in Sheffield. And a highly novel aspect of this platform will be integrating these environmental data with social economic data, supply chain logistics and land costs and so on. And then we'll work with STFC to develop a Bayesian decision-making method to identify which vacant spaces would be most cost effective for producing crop yields. We've developed a comprehensive 5-year impact and engagement plan to work with industry to maximise the use of vacant spaces in towns and cities around the world. During our pilot, we'll chair workshops to develop a close, almost symbiotic relationship with our existing urban growing network in Sheffield. And we aim to publish some specific recommendations for Sheffield City planners as one of the outputs of this pilot. In years 2 to 3, we aim to deploy our decision-making platform in other cities around the world. We've already identified vacant spaces in Bangkok and Porto to do this. We also believe that our model could be adapted for better decision-making by rural smallholders, and we'll lead some workshops with this network in year 3 to identify some opportunities to trial this out. And in year 4, we'll continue to work with STFC's business development expertise to further develop the commercial potential of our decision-making platform, building this into a dashboard that can be used by businesses and companies. And we'll be integrating this with Innovate UK projects and setting up some urban growing projects in vacant spaces. So our pilot project very strongly focuses on using FTSC data science, but our impact and engagement plan will also work in partnership with technology and facilities. For example, one idea is to reduce the transport costs to various vacant spaces by developing some robotic gardeners, or perhaps some flying gardeners that can hop from rooftop to rooftop to check on cultivation and reduce transport times. We also plan to work with the facilities departments to use tracers that can detect contaminants in the soils at vacant plots and work these data back into our decision-making dashboard. So let me ask you again, as I said at the start, please imagine some food growing spaces. We hope that you can imagine the potential of urban vacant spaces as we try to create sustainable, resilient and healthy food production systems into the future. Thank you very much. Thank you, Christian.
Thank you very much, Dan. Okay, on to the next one. Right, so we have IoT-enabled cold chain for the East African fish market. That's IoT-enabled cold chain for the East African fish market.
Hi, that would be me and Ahmed presenting. I hope you can all hear us okay.
Brilliant.
Hi, everybody. So we're a team. We're going to put together this presentation for you. Hope you're going to enjoy it. So on to the next slide. And I want to present to you the problem that we're seeking to address. So you can see here a video this was taken yesterday. I was out in the field and a farmer is selling his fish. There's no ice. It's all fresh from the landing site. Next slide, please. The problem there is that the farmer or the fisherman has to sell his produce in one instance. He hasn't got to the end of the day to sell his produce, otherwise it will go rotten because it's fish. And often that means that they'll have to take a substantially lower price, which isn't great for the producer. This obviously is a problem of food insecurity and food safety for the consumer who's buying fish that's not necessarily very fresh. There's obviously a issue of waste because any fish that isn't consumed will be thrown away, and it's unsustainable and unprofitable for fish ventures, fishermen, and also aquaculture. There's a lack of access to data. So if you are someone who wants to buy fish in bulk, you don't know where the fish is coming, you don't know how long it's been sat there in the sun, you're not going to buy it. So what we're talking about here is post-harvest losses by smallholder fishers, farmers and traders in East Africa is incredibly high because there's a lack of affordable cold chain solution. There's an acute need for reliable cold chain in Sub-Saharan Africa. Next slide, please.
Right. To address actually these challenges, we will develop a technology demonstrator for a new cold box equipped with a modular, swappable, rechargeable cooling thermal energy storage. We're calling it in thermal engineering Coolith batteries. And this cold box will be integrated with Internet of Things sensor technology to connect it with a wider fish supply chain. We will use Raspberry Pi, which is a low-cost platform, Raspberry Pi platform, to connect the sensor with a wide range of wireless networking technologies. And it will enable us using a mobile phone size battery able to drive the sensor for more than 24 hours per single charge. We're gonna use the thermal driven sorption cooling technology to generate the cooling in the farm actually, because the solar thermal energy is abundant in Africa. And as you can see here, the cold box will be connected with different points of supply chain, starting from the harvest point or post-harvest storage and other location in supply chain. And we will specify definitely a business model for logistic service system. The model applies to cooperative of small fishers or third-party logistic service. We will receive support from STFC to design and implement the Pi platform, its sensor integration and data processing, and we'll also receive some advice on how the data can be optimally stored and processed.
Thank you. So we can clearly see this is a very impactful project. We'll be creating new jobs, we'll empower women. Traditionally, these are the ones that are selling fish. And actually, we've got a great network of identified fish farmers in Uganda. That's where I'm based. We're prepared to match funding. So I work for a business that's prepared to do that if this is successful. And we want to sort of really put this out there, get further funder opportunities. I know some good contacts that we can approach. So I'm very excited about this potential, but we obviously need STFC's support to do this. Yeah, I'm out of time. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for sticking to time there. Right, on to the next one. Monitoring potato production in the Kenyan highlands by assessing the impacts of climate weather shocks on crop yields. Monitoring potato production in the Kenyan highlands by assessing the impacts of climate weather shocks on crop yields. Perfect. Mercy, take it away.
Are you there, Mercy? I think you might be on mute. Mercy, are you there? Christian, you're on mute as well.
If you would like, maybe can we unmute you via our control panel?
It's actually saying that Mercy isn't muted, so we might be having a bit of a problem with Mercy. I suggest, should we try and move on to another one and then try and come back to Mercy. If Mercy,
okay.
You might be able to dial into the meeting as well, and I can show your slides for you if need be. It might be, Mercy, I suggest going off and logging back into the meeting, and let's hope that corrects your audio. Christian, I'll pass over to you to go.
Okay, no worries. Sorry about that, Mercy. This looks to be a super exciting project. We'll definitely be coming back to this one. Don't worry about it. Okay, would we have virtual farming clusters, the presenter for virtual farming clusters?
Yes, Christian, thank you so much.
Manish, there you go. Okay, please share your screen.
Yeah, just a second. And here it goes, full. Yeah. Is it fine?
Perfect. Go for it.
Okay. So thank you so much for this opportunity. And we as a team are presenting this idea about virtual farming clusters, basically addressing the issues at the smallholder farmers. Now, what we would have all noticed, and you would have realized, that smallholder farmers are actually buying things at retail price, whereas they are selling their output at the farm gate price. And because of that, they are always locked in a debt cycle. Their small size makes it very difficult for them to go for any affordable financial solutions, to gain market information, or to use farm equipment. Now, because of that, they are always hidden from the consumers and the buyers. If somebody wants to buy something, either coffee, tea, fish, or something, we really don't know where the product is. And the problem is the size of these smallholder farmers. There are almost 500 million of such smallholder farmers scattered all over the world. So how do we know where is our food produced, and how do we know that it is being produced in the right possible manner? To address this solution, we are looking at two phenomena that are already existing, and we are trying to hack the sustainability issue. We're looking at farm cooperatives and social media clusters, and mimicking that, we want to develop a virtual farming clusters. So what virtual farming clusters will do is create three things: visibility to these farmers. So we will collaborate these farmers into virtual farming clusters and make them visible. That, okay, these are the farmers, these are here, this is their organization structure, this is their volume, and things like that. Make them viable by aggregating their input requirements and aggregating their sales requirements. And then we will make them valuable. So how we will create value is that this virtual farming clusters will have decision support tools to help crop planning from the sowing to harvesting. We will map the entire crop development life cycle, and then we will monitor that what is happening at each stage of the life cycle. And based on that, we will issue them customized alerts. So the idea is that we will identify village level leaderships, and then we will invite farmers within a 2-mile radius to join this virtual farming cluster. And then we will map the aggregate strengths and requirements of the cluster, and then encourage these farmers for joint purchase and sales activities. And the idea is to create a branding for each of these individual clusters. So going forward, these virtual farming clusters will become kind of a virtual companies that have their own brand, own organization structure, own production, and own sales. We have existing links, and we have been working with coffee and tea farmers in India, and we also have support from Kenya and Africa. We are also working with coffee roasters in Germany and UK. So actually we have identified the buyers and the suppliers, and the virtual farming cluster will just sit between the buyers and suppliers. We also are working with some of the tea and coffee distribution companies in UK. So this is a perfect thing to connect the buyers and the suppliers. And by also using the virtual farming clusters, we will be able to do sustainable certification, which is one of the big problems. So our idea is to pilot test the first virtual farming cluster in coffee. And we are looking at 2 regions. One is Kenya and other is Kerala. And our plan going forward is that we will be using this pilot to apply for Innovate UK Smart Grant funding to scale up this platform and test for other crops. And we will also be targeting publications on the use of social media.
Thank you, Manish. That's the title.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, can I just check, has Mercy been able to rejoin the meeting? Can you?
Hello, you can hear me now?
We can hear you, Mercy.
There we go. Okay, let's see if we can bring your screen back up and we'll try your one again.
Okay, fine. Okay, thank you. So I'm the PI of the project, and it's about monitoring and forecasting potato production in the Kenyan highlands using Earth observation data. So the project is led by JQuat team in collaboration with a team from University of Sussex and the STFC side expertise. We have Teresita and Edward. So the food challenge that we are trying to address is that there is need to feed a growing population and also meet the SDG goals at increased climate variability circumstance. So that means that there is need to enhance staple food production, of which potato comes forth after wheat, maize, and rice. So the Kenyan highlands, they actually meet these growing conditions for the potato, and that the area we are looking at produces about 33% of the potatoes produced in Kenya. So the potato, they need to increase more potato, and of course the consumption has also increased. And now the issue dealing with the climate variability is actually what is affecting the expected potato yield. So the gap that the research is looking at is trying to link the increased uncertainties of these climate weather shocks to the potato yield gap. So here we aim to use Earth observation data together with machine learning algorithm techniques so that we can relate these crop growing conditions to the yields. So in this, we aim to use a time series phenological indices data extracted from image fused satellite products so that we have a higher spatial, spectral, and temporal resolution to be able to capture the crop growth stages, and together with the field data to be able to model and forecast the expected crop yields. So here we use Stfc capabilities in terms of the processing, the computing facilities to be able to forecast this and see how the crop are responding to the climate and weather parameters. So the project is expected, because this is a pilot study, in future it will be upscaled to technologies which can inform market processes. And in this case, we aim to maybe eliminate middlemen, because that's the main issue affecting the farmers, while seeking ways to improve storage of the potato because it's relatively perishable. In addition, the farming is a highly a gendered role, whereby it's mainly women who are involved in the farming and also the selling of the product. Yeah, so there'll also be a one peer-reviewed publication, and of course, the project can also be upscaled to other favorable areas. That's maybe even Africa tropical highland and other future funding opportunities, for example, the future climate for Africa. Yeah, so this project fits into the data science, whereby there is a lot of need for the forecasting and the yield modeling, satellite data processing and artificial intelligence. And we also hope to use the STFC computing facilities. So thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, and glad the audio worked. That is an amazing project, and it's just great to see all these different linkages globally and how we can apply these STFC capacities and capabilities. Amazing. Okay, on to the next project. If you could stop sharing your screen.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, and so the next project is, for some reason, not appearing on my screen. There we go. So we've done virtual farming clusters, we've done potatoes. So it is now SI Pintar, an AI virtual assistant for smallholder farmers. I think I've pronounced the acronym wrong and you're about to correct me, but it's SI Pintar, an AI virtual assistant for smallholder farmers. Is the PI here? Perfect. You might just want to go back to your starting slide.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Can I start?
Right.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Dimas from Sipindo, and I would like to present our idea about Pintar, an AI virtual assistant for smallholder farmers. So in Indonesia, there is only one extension officer for every 1,000 farmers. So it is very limited. And when you leave a young farmers like Wahyudi in this picture here without any support, he is lacking access to reliable info services. When you leave him alone, it can lead to some problems like low productivity, which can lead to food insecurity, harvest failure, such as due to pests and diseases, which can lead to poverty or debt trap, or low food quality and safety, such as due to excessive use of pesticides, which is common in Indonesia, and can lead to pesticide contamination in the food. So looking at these problems, since 2020, Sipindo has been trying to address this gap by providing an online consultation via Sipindo chat in our mobile app. And we saw a surge just a month after we launched, and especially because of COVID-19. And to date, we have almost 25,000, more than 25,000 monthly active users. And last year, we processed about 14,000 questions in our apps. And while this is a good thing, we gain a significant traction. We are able to help our farmers. This also brings a new challenge for us because we realize that manually processing all these questions takes a lot of time and resources. So the current response time is about 2 to 5 days, which is quite long. So we were thinking, what if we can automate that process? Introducing Pintar, which in English can be translated into the smart guy or the smart one. So Pintar is an AI virtual assistant that can answer all farmers' questions related to sustainable food production. It is also equipped with an image recognition capability that allows users to easily identify a pest and disease, which is #1 problems of farmers today based on our survey, just by sending pictures. So what we are going to do in this STFC project is to establish a training set using the current data of 14,000 questions and pictures that were sent by our users to eventually develop a machine learning model of Pintar. And for that, we expect an expertise on STFC from Hartree in terms of image recognition and artificial intelligence. The pathways to impact, with this machine learning model, we have to be able to reduce our response time from 2 to 5 days to instant reply or less than 1 day reply. And hopefully with more than 90% accuracy in terms of the image recognitions. And our next step, as a startup, Sipindo is backed by Seaweed Indonesia, a major seed company here in Indonesia, and Cordate, international NGO, which focuses on agriculture, as its shareholders. And they're ready to invest further when we can achieve a proof of concept within this STFC project. So that is all about us. If you're keen to know more, let's have a chat, and don't forget to vote us. Thank you.
Thank you very much there, and great to be kept within time. A good use of an emoji at the end on that slide as well. Right, on to the next topic. So mapping the grain storage. For number 8, it's mapping the grain storage.
Hello, hi, that would be me.
Hi, can you please share your screen?
Yes. Can you see?
Great.
So the idea behind this project is to use our proprietary technology, which is the first feasible technology for a device to move in granular bulk, to create a temperature and moisture grain storage monitoring system that measure these 2 parameters while it swims through grains in sheds and silos. The need behind this is because grain monitoring is a very time-consuming, and it's not always reliable and not always accurate. So grain storage operator and farmers They need to allocate a lot of labors and to get the results that not always are not always reliable. And having results that are reliable can enhance the traceability and the quality management across the whole grain value chain. And this ties up a lot with the new implementation in these fields that is the big global trades. Companies are implementing blockchain, and with this, we can use this data to create a bridge between the blockchain and the real world. The methodology will be a proof of concept with the project partners and proof of concept for the reliability of the data and the user sensor. And after that, we'll be using this data to be able to create, using our device as an oracle for the execution of smart contracts. So imagine that you have grain that's been in storage adequately, safe, and you can provide this information automatically to the blockchain and say, this grain has been safely stored, it's ready to go, and you can execute a contract automatically. And this is especially important for the quality management in import and export, global import-export. Pathways to impact. So our project partner will be a grain storage farmer cooperative that stores combinable crops for grain export in the Great Lincolnshire area. And we have also support by the UK Food Valley project from the Great Lincolnshire Local Enterprise Partnerships. After that, the plan for the project will be applying for the Bridging for Innovative funding from Stfc. Deliverable will be having a case study with a more defined business plan, both for the grain monitoring device plus the digital traceability tool and platform. And also an investigation regarding expanding sensor capability, like the use of acoustic sensor for precise detection of insect pests, Lincolnshire is important because I can see is one of the most, the area with the most wheat production in the UK, and is strategically positioned for import and export. And from the SFC, we will use your expertise in blockchain and IoT, as well as your expertise in electronics as for sensor data, and specifically the RT blockchain lab facility. And another function will be your expertise in the impact analysis of our solution. So life cycles analysis and manufacturing. That's it for me.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for keeping within time. You know, these are flying past, but all amazing projects using different parts of STFC facilities, capacities, old technology. Right, on to the last of the projects. Number 9, sensing soil health for sustainability. Is the PI here for sensing soil health for wow, there we go, straight away. Okay, I'll mute and let you go, take it away.
Hi there. So today I'm going to talk about sensing soil health for sustainability. Part of the team is myself, Shanil Bhagwat, Jadu Dash, Dan Evans, Graham Ferrier, and Patrick Stowell. And together we bring expertise in sensor technology, soil health, and smallholding production management practices. So the food challenge is that small-scale farmers produce up to 70% of the food, playing a critical role in food security. But to continue to do so, they will need to successfully adapt to climate changes. Vital to this is restoring and maintaining soil health through production management practices. The opportunity is that they can also mitigate climate changes through practices that sequester carbon in the soil. However, evaluating impacts from production practices depends on subjective expert assessment and is based on data that is sometimes decades old. So we need a more robust, integrated, temporal, data-driven, and evidence-based evaluation of soil health to support adaptation and mitigation, and to bridge understanding of soil health between land managers, scientific knowledge, and change makers. And we need to do this so that farmers can access data in real time. Now is a great time for integrating sensor data. We now have 50 years of satellite data enabling new synthesis analyses. The next 2 to 3 years will see a marked increase in the availability of new satellite data as more satellites are launched, such as the carbon satellites to be launched by the US. And the technology for sensors is rapidly developing, opening up new possibilities for use and applications. So the project will build a framework for sensing holistic parameters of soil health to evaluate the sustainability of management practices under changing conditions. We'll do this by assessing the opportunities to integrate data generated through in situ sensors, in-field testing with spectroscopy imaging from drones and satellite imagery, together with already existing data sets in order to build a 3D image of soil health at the field scale, the landscape scale, and regional and national scales. We will also scope out the cost potential for such an approach. So the challenge owners are small-scale farmers, cooperatives, and national research and extension services. Also, the research community through the development of a data management platform for integrating data and making that publicly available for the research community. Certification companies like Rainforest Alliance, who use certification criteria that theoretically link to sustainable outcomes, but they lack the evidence of such linkages in many production systems and places. Coffee tends to be the exception to this. Will generate greater understanding of impacts on the SDGs at both international and national scales for certification companies, for climate change adaptations and mitigations at the field scale, as well as applications for the practices of payment for agricultural subsidies that the UK is looking to implement going forward. So the STFC capabilities that we will be drawing from is around data science with respect to data management to integrate information about soil health across the sensors on one platform, and within technology. So we're using several different sensor technologies to provide info for farmers to mitigate climate change and implement sustainable practices. This will also have impact on consumer behavior in terms of the certification.
Thank you, Angelina. That's time up. Thank you. Okay.
Great for using all the time right to the end there. And I think that's all 9 of the amazing projects that have been pitched there. And again, I'm blown away by how amazing all these projects are in terms of innovations for small-scale food producers. And you know, all of these projects have different fundamental challenges, all interlinked towards small-scale food production. And as was said there by Angelina, you know, the majority of calories on this planet are produced in small-scale farming. So it's amazing to see the different challenges and the different solutions that are being pitched by these 9 projects. So I know Gareth is now moving or starting to prepare theme 3 people to be moved into the waiting room while we vote on this. I'm just going to share the screen and bring up the different projects there in terms of what we could be voting for. Just remember that there was some flips in terms of the potato project is in this order, so we're saying that's number 5. It was just we had some differences because of the audio issues, but this is the version we're looking in. So we've got the strengthening capacity of youth farmers and improving market access. That was melons. Downscale, so hail damage, optimizing in novel sites for urban food production. So that was the Sheffield-based one, then expanding later. IoT-enabled cold chain for East African fish markets. Monitoring potato production, again. The virtual farming clusters, Seaweed, so the Indonesian image identification app, mapping grain storage, and then sensing soil health for sustainability. So 9 amazing projects there for you to vote on. Gareth, are we nearly ready?
Just a second more. There's a lot of people in theme 3, so just give me a second.
There are, that's for sure. But again, there's been a lot of people and a lot of energy in all of these different themes. And again, thank you so much, everybody, for engaging today and engaging over all of this sandpit. I know it's not the same as being face-to-face. It'll be amazing to be at one of the facilities or be in a giant meeting room all together and actually have these conversations and, you know, break off and sit down and be in the sun together, just sitting outside talking about these challenges and going, oh, you're working on Mars, you're working on satellites, you're working on robotics. Oh, this is how it could work, and having those. But this is the next best thing we can have right now. And I'm sure we can continue to have some of those discussions and some of those coffees as we go along. Gareth has now given me the thumbs up. So Gareth, let's start the poll.
Just one final check again, please. If there's anyone left in that I haven't put in the waiting room, can you just unmute yourself and let me know? So anyone involved in a Theme 3 project?
Yeah, I've tried to rename some of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mercy, there we go. Sorry for missing you out.
Thank you, Mercy. Oh, she's gone, but thanks to her anyway. And I think that's probably about it.
Okay, let's go for Theme 3's poll then. Thank you everybody for sticking with us to this. It's just great to see that you're all engaged and care about these as well. Okay, so again, thank you so much again for coming in and engaging with this, and for the themes 1 and 2 who are voting right now, the 50 or so people who are voting, I do encourage you to put in your scoping projects and also to continue talking with other people. I think, you know, there's been different discussions across all Theme 3s, and you could definitely see that there are projects that could fit together from each theme and go towards, say, the bigger pots of funding that the STFC Food Network that will be releasing in a couple of months' time, I think. Sonal, is that correct? When are the bigger pots coming out? Or is that something I should not even be mentioning right now?
No, scoping project is out there. Bigger pot would be by 14th of July, we'll open up.
Okay, brilliant. So again, you know, and there'll be other things in the future as well in terms of these sorts of other pots of funding, both accessible through the STFC Food Network Plus, as well as other STFC and UKRI based funding packages. So we've had 76% of the vote so far. If you've not voted, please do vote. So we have these 9 amazing projects. I would be totally torn if voting to remember and think about which of these is the one I want to nominate for now. It's such a hard choice. You know, we can only have 3 winners of this sandpit, but I think, you know, you are all winners in my eyes. This is an amazing group of projects and, you know, some brilliant ideas of both fundamental research, pilot research, and applying some technical wizardry to these food challenges. So 80% now have voted. Come on, guys, 5 more people. Anybody? I'm going to give it another minute, another 30 seconds, as it were. And we'll see if anybody else, because it could again.
I think we can give about a minute because these were nine amazing projects. So I can understand people would be just taking time to recap what they were saying.
That is true. Okay. They are some amazing projects in terms of using facilities, using technology, using computing, using all of the different strands of STFC within these projects to address it. And, you know, you can definitely see now how these different strands of STFC can address the sustainable food challenges that have been brought out there. And also engage with smaller groups rather than it just being all top-down decision, which is, again, brilliant. Okay, so we're up to 82%. Anybody else feeling, come on, let's get to above 90%, guys. It could be some people have dialed in on their phones as well as on their devices, and so it might be counted twice. But again, it will be brilliant to see just 1 or 2 more people vote so we have an above 90% rate. But if not, there we go. 10 more seconds. Such hard choices here.
Now, don't force me to call out the names. Come on, we can see who's voting. Please do vote. This theme is hard.
This is a really hard theme. Yeah,
yeah, we can see so many close.
So now, are you going to be taking over to announce the results in a few short minutes, or are we having a short break first?
We can have maybe a 10 minutes break, Gareth, and resume at 12. Is that okay?
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Shall we call the vote in there then?
Okay, let's call the vote in.
Oh, there's one more just sneaked in at the end.
45. Okay.
Thank you, everybody who has just voted there. There's some really hard choices in terms of these different projects. And again, I encourage, and once everybody's back from the waiting room, to somebody just said something in the chat. So Lewis, I'll bring everyone back in, but at 12 we'll announce the results.
We announced the winners of each theme, basically, Lewis. So it's which projects will be funded according to your votes. So we're awarding one project per theme.
And I'm really pleased, that these three pressing priorities in terms of going beyond greenhouse gas emissions, in terms of actually looking at water-based agriculture, in terms of seafood and aquaculture, and also in terms of small-scale farmers, urban farmers, all of these different challenges have been addressed in this sandpit and show that, there's so much passion in the room and within the network for these different sorts of themes. So it's brilliant having this thing. We can go back to the STF. I just realized I've been speaking muted for those last couple of minutes. Always very handy then. So just wanting to highlight and say thank you very much to everybody for attending. It's great to see the passion that's in the room and the passion for these different projects of small scale farmers, local farmers, ocean and water-based projects, and also moving beyond greenhouse gas emissions in terms of food system impact. So brilliant to see all of these different sorts of projects coming about, and we can go back to STFC and go back to UKRI and say, see the amount of research passion that is happening here, and that's a brilliant result. So as Sunil just said, we're going to take an 8-minute break again, because that's the way we roll here at the Food Network. We'll be back at exactly on 12 in UK time to announce the results and the winners. So thank you very much, everybody. This is a really special thing for us. It's brilliant to see this. These are amazingly well done pitches. So thank you so much. And please do put in both scoping projects, and you can see synergies between the different projects, even get in contact with people, because there are bigger pots of funding also out there that you could tap in regards to STFC and other sorts of UKRI funding that we could help you with to accelerate between project groups. So anyway, let's go on a break. See you in 8 minutes.
And please utilize chat function to say a few words to all the different participants if you want to engage with the networking if you want to.
Just to recap, we are on a break until 12 o'clock, so that's 8 minutes time away. Please do stretch, please do move around, and we'll be unveiling the results in 8 minutes. 2-minute warning, your 2-minute warning. Continue to have a break. Right, everybody, it is 12 o'clock. Okay, hopefully you had a good break there. You had a cup of tea, coffee, or beverage of your choice. You stretched a little bit. I think that was an amazingly profitable sandpit in terms of actually meeting all of you, seeing your project, seeing how passionate you are about these different sorts of things. So thank you all very much for attending SFN 2.0 Virtual Sandpit, Building Back Fairer and Better. I'm now going to hand over back to SFN's PI Sunil Chowdhury to announce the results.
Thank you, Christian. What a fantastic presentation. Thank you. Thank you very much, Christian. So welcome back, everyone. We have the results. But before I disclose the results, I would really request you all that please don't get intimidated by the result. There's all the projects were absolutely fantastic, and we would really welcome you all to submit the scoping project applications. All right. So let's go theme-wise. So the winner for theme 1 is 1.2 project, which is establishing a rapid testing system for contaminant detection in African honey as means of quality control and environmental monitoring. Can we please have jazz hands for the winner or clap hands for the winner? Well done, team 1. Okay.
Fantastic, thank you. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Really great news. I didn't expect that.
No, thank you, Maria, for pitching. Okay.
It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed today's session.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, now the winner for theme 2. Winner for theme 2 is identification and monitoring of fish cage aquaculture with remote sensing and machine learning. Jazz hands or clap hands, everyone. Is a PI here? Or any of the co-Is?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, brilliant.
Oh,
well,
congratulations. Thank you so much. I didn't expect this. I'm so happy.
Brilliant. Okay, moving ahead. Theme 3, and the winner for theme 3. This was the most difficult thing because we had very close runner-ups, like, just by 1 vote or 2 votes, that sort of thing. So please, everyone, do submit your scoping project applications. Okay, the winner is modeling, optimizing, and identifying novel sites for urban food production. Well done, congratulations.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's been a really, really interesting morning, and I look forward to really collaborating with everyone. It's really been thought-provoking. Thank you.
So those were our 3 Sandpit winners. We would invite you to fill a little bit of application form. We will be in touch with you, and please do look out for our email. Christian, did you want to say something?
I was just going to highlight and say, please, everybody, the scoping projects are due in a couple of weeks' time, in July the 2nd, I believe. Yeah. These ideas that you have pitched today all make perfect scoping projects. So do not be disappointed in terms of not winning today. You have time to turn all these brilliant ideas into brilliant projects. So congratulations to all the winners today, but also congratulate yourselves on coming up with some brilliant ideas and making some brilliant contacts. I know every room I was in over this sandpit, people were talking, people were thinking through these big challenges. I encourage you to put those in. Gareth, out of interest, how many scoping projects did we award last time? 20. So again, you know, we had 21 projects today and we've just awarded 3. So thinking about those odds, if there were nobody else to apply for this, you know, there is some good odds for scoping projects as well. Of course, there are other people applying, but again, these are perfect projects for STFC Food Network scoping projects. So please do apply for the scoping project call as well. It's been a pleasure hearing about you all today. Back to Sanal.
Thanks, Christian. So before I move ahead, I would just like to invite our funder. So Isabella, so she is representing our funder, STFC. Isabella, if you could just say a few words before we move ahead and I disclose the next steps.
Hi, yeah, so I'm the senior program manager that leads on the 21st Century Challenges program that funds the STFC networks. And I just want to thank Sonal for the opportunity to just say quickly, congratulations to the successful projects, and just thank you for also organising this fantastic sandpit as well. It's been, from my perspective, it's run really smoothly, and it's been really great to see the breadth of activity that's going on in this space. And I'll just finish up by saying it was really fantastic to see such the wide range of projects that makes use of the STFC capabilities in this space. So thank you very much, everyone, and congratulations again to the successful projects.
Thanks, Isabella. Okay, so for everyone, please do get in touch with us because it's not over yet. We are very much looking forward to your scoping project application. It is pretty much straightforward, but if you think that you would need a little bit of more insights, then we are very open and we would be encouraging you to talk to us as well before you submit the scoping project application. There would be an opportunity, hopefully in one of the webinars, where you could have some informal discussions with some of us. Okay, so the deadline for the scoping project application is 2nd of July. So please do fill your application in, and I think it is the same criteria as in the Sandpit projects: duration 9 months, project funding 8K to 10K. And again, there would be eligibility criteria as well out there on the website, and same marking criteria, exact food challenge, what you are focusing on, what's the impact, methodological approaches, how you have well integrated STFC capabilities into it, and there are pathways for impact. Okay. Eligibility criteria, just very quickly, for UK projects, the lead party must be either a university or eligible research institute. However, if you are from the industry, then you are most welcome to collaborate and be as like a partner. You could be subcontracted as well. If you are based in the international countries, in Africa or Asia, then any organization can participate, can lead the project, but the lead participants must be based in ODA countries within Africa and Asia. There are useful resources on our website, so I would really invite you to visit our website and do utilize these useful resources. They are all out there for you. Even after going through those resources, if you have any questions, please do email us. We are generally very prompt. Our next webinar is capturing value from food chain information. This is from one of our projects that we did with Food Standard Agency, just a glimpse of what we understood from doing this project. So we would really invite you to participate in this webinar, because after this webinar, there would be 30 minutes sort of time where we all could meet on Wonder platform, informally chat for any of your scoping projects ideas as well, and for the feedback for that we can have for the webinar. Okay, this webinar is being conducted by Dr. Ray Obey, and we would be very happy to have you all there. Again, the details of this webinar are on their website, on the website. So remember, for your scoping project, again, this diagram, how well you are integrating your project ideas with Stfc capabilities, that would be very much required from the funder's perspective as well as from the reviewer's perspective. So all these applications would be peer reviewed by our COIs. And again, there are lots of projects that have been already funded by the network. So last year we funded 20, and then before that in SFN phase 1, 40 projects were funded. So there are details for all the 60 projects out there on our website, and I would really encourage you to go through them to understand what sort of research ideas are being put forward and where our interests are. Okay. We have already funded the projects in and around, like, catering 18 countries. So whether the PI or the COIs are based in these countries, or we are actually working with some of the partners based in the country. So it's really good to see this. We would welcome people from all across the different ODA countries in Asia and Africa to collaborate with us. But also there is 50% focus on UK food security as well. So please, it's a mix of everything, global as well as UK food security. So please do collaborate with us, utilize all the networking opportunities so far. And I think there have been some fantastic pitching ideas today, And again, I can't stress enough, you have to just apply for a scoping project, let's say that. Okay, and we are also having a virtual conference on 13th and 14th of July. And within this conference, again, there are, you would be hearing from previous funded projects, what they are doing, what they have achieved, what are the key take-home messages from them, but you would be also hearing from different funding bodies, from UKRIs, and even from other funding bodies who are funding ODA-related projects. One of them is Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and you would be also hearing from me. We would be launching 2 project application form. We would be launching 2 of those funding applications. One would be on the proof of concept funding. It would be around 25 to 30K. The another one would be on ECR's secondment, and it would be up to £5,000. And we have fantastic keynote speakers from Food Standard Agency and from FCDO. So really looking forward to all of you being present in our conference and engaging with us. Thank you. Over to Gareth.
Thank you, Sonal, that's great. So the final thing is just to share the feedback form with you all. We're really keen to get your feedback on this event. We've drew on last year's event, the feedback that we received from last year's event, and it really helped us during this one. So I'm really keen to hear how it went for you during the Sandpit sessions and today. If you've got any ideas about, even if you've attended other events and you've seen things that have worked well, feel free to put them in the form as well. The link is in the chat function now. Please head over to there and click through the form. You don't have to do it straight away, but at least you'll have the link live.
You can also send the link via email as well.
I'll send it round afterwards, yeah. And yep, that's everything from me. Shall I hand back over Christian or Sonal to
yeah. Okay, so just a word of thanks to everyone who has participated in this Sandpit from STFC side and from food side. Without you, this Sandpit wouldn't be a success. But special thanks to Gareth, Christian, Himina for organizing this, and all SFN facilitators without whom this Sandpit wouldn't be running. To observers, SFN COIs who participated today, steering committee members, international advisors, other UKRIs who participated today as observers and they voted. And finally, to our funder, STFC, without whom we wouldn't be here. So thank you everyone for your brilliant participation, and we are looking forward to engaging with you in other events, in webinars, in our conferences, in our forums to come.